Hey.
Hey.
Okay, everyone's here, so let us begin. So welcome everyone, 1st of August and Q3, so super exciting, halfway through this year. So we've got some read-only announcements there that you can all look through in your own time. On the discussion stuff, so it's just more, I guess, like I'm opening up for discussion if you like. So as we go into Q3, we are now working as 2 teams, but 2 very closely related teams working on the same problem. So we have got open an issue with proposed ways of working. These we will continue to be reviewing throughout, particularly throughout this quarter, but longer term as well. So please keep sort of letting us know if you have ideas or ways that we can improve on this. The rough idea for this quarter is going to be to probably keep things fairly similar to how they have been, but use this as a little bit of a way to test out how are the team boundaries working for us. So certainly not expecting that we have everything right. And it might be that you feel like, oh, I'm really limited in the sort of problems I want to work on because they all sit with the other team, or, oh, I found like 90% of the issues I've picked up have been from the other team, right? That's absolutely fine. Please go ahead and work on the things that make the most sense for you to work on. We both have OKRs set up, like both teams have OKRs set up. So primarily that's what we want to achieve. But at the same time, we will be keeping checks on, like, if it turns out 90% of all work for these 2 OKRs is currently sitting with one team, we will probably adjust boundaries. So don't be limited by how we have things set up. Just use that as a guideline. One thing that will be a little bit more difficult is you will possibly feel like you have less visibility of things that are going on than you previously did. So you're all certainly encouraged to take part in all of the discussions and decisions and things, propose things as you have been doing. In terms of actually being able to keep in touch with what's happening and what's moving, we will be following along. So this is in A2. We'll be following the guidelines of our handbook. So they state that every issue in Epic will belong to one of our 2 parent epics. And these will be showing the updated status from child epic. So let me just quickly show you how this is actually working. One of these is a little bit nicer than the other, which is entirely my fault because I only updated one epic. Let me show you the nicer one. So our nicer epic is the release velocity one, which is the one I put the automation on. So what this is actually doing is it automatically is pulling in epics based on their labels. So anything that you have sitting in here with the infra in progress label will start pulling in here, and it will show you who the DRI is. It will show you like links into the epic, and it will also pull out the summary, which is why the kind of positioning and format of your summaries on your epics is super important. So if you're just casually wondering, like, what's one thing we have going on in progress, like how are the projects going, this is a really good way to just get a bit of an overview, and you can see what's coming up next. So these are things with proposal, label, and we have triage and things like that. So this is this one, and alongside this, the not so updated, because we haven't yet automated it, but we will, epic is the Kubernetes one, right? So everything that either of our 2 teams is working on will bubble up into these 2 epics. The other thing I will quickly show you is the other piece we have related is our board. And update. What you'll now see going on, we're going to probably start out just based, unless someone disagrees on the issue, based on feedback so far, we will continue working on this one board. And what you'll see is that issues will start to move away from having the team delivery label, and they will start to be showing the orchestration or system label. So this one is a little bit more for info. It gives you a way of seeing what other people are working on. And it gives you a way of picking things that most make sense for your team and the DRI, sort of the projects and epics and things that you're DRIing on as well. But at the same time, please don't feel like, oh, I'm working on the wrong thing. So Ruben, for example, doesn't matter that you're working on an issue labeled as orchestration. That's totally fine. We'll just be monitoring that to see how we have things lined up. Questions? That's super clear. Please let us know when that doesn't work out for you or you're not sure about something, right? Like we'll all be kind of figuring this out as we go along through Q3.
I have a question actually, and it's not really related to that, but it was just showed, right? So about the automation for the epic. So I would like to know a bit more how we can also automate 112 out of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can certainly show you how that's done. So we are making use of some automation that Rachel's put in place that all of the platform EMs have adopted. So it's used on all of the platform teams. That Kubernetes epic is the only epic inside platform that isn't using this automation. So I can give you a walkthrough, but roughly what we've tried to do is set it up so that it's built on top of the guidance that everyone has been given in platform around weekly epic updates from the DRI to allow us to bubble those things up. And then we kind of have a shared structure. So yes, I can certainly show you that. Let me see if I can quickly find the link to it in case anyone else is interested. Also, no one's allowed to judge our code. And actually, this is it's an interesting repo because scalability have a lot more automation in place than we do, but the scripts are all in here. So they certainly can give some interesting ideas, which is related to some of the release management stuff about bubbling up info and taking advantage of labels and structure of issues and epics to make their lives a little bit easier. Great. Any other questions? No. Okay. Release managers. Over to you.
I'll roll through this hopefully. Share screen. That one. So as far as the number of packages that we've tagged per day, we're still on par with what we normally accomplish, in my opinion. We did get kind of a slow start as far as how many were promoted because one, the security release, and two, I struggled to get the schedule working in a useful format for my working hours. So we had to adjust it twice to account for that. As we could see, Ruben is doing a fantastic job this morning so far. As far as our deployment frequency, I think we're on par with what we pretty much do. So I don't think there's anything to comment on about this one. And lastly, our lead time for changes. Again, a little slow start. I suspect this is probably due to the security release as well as the scheduling thing I was trying to fix for myself. But, we got back to our target at near the end of the week. So I think we're doing pretty good so far. I do think we will see a minor hit to MTTP at the beginning of this week due to changes that are coming from 2 different areas in reliability. So I will be pausing auto deploy a little bit later today due to a change for console related certificates that are expiring. And then tomorrow, I think Ruben is going to pause auto deploy near the end of his day in preparation for some Postgres work that is occurring. And then during my time as release manager, I will be re-enabling auto deploy. So there'll be at least 2 occasions this week that we are purposely or intentionally pausing auto deploys. But outside of that, I think we're on par with normal.
So I'll just add, last week at the start, we lost a few packages because of incident 7509. And then in the middle of the week, because of just the work that has to go into the security release, I think we missed like a couple of packages. And today we missed like 3 packages because a CNG pipeline was failing. So yeah, so even once it was fixed, the pipeline will keep failing until you make a new tag on CNG. So we had to just discard 3 pipelines. Yeah.
Nice. Great analysis of all that stuff. Is there anything, like particularly for that one this morning, maybe Ruben for the CNG, are there any corrective actions that could be taken?
I'm not sure if something like this could be detected earlier. This particular problem seemed to be that some Alpine certificates package changed or stopped working or something like that. There's no issue for it, but I can link to Stan's MR that fixed it.
Okay, great. Yeah. I mean, like if it's helpful to put an issue, like a release issue in and record that, and then like can open up a discussion, it could throw up some possible improvements.
Okay.
I think I've got one idea as a corrective action. This was an issue I created, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Let me find it real quick. It's one where I discovered that our auto deploy, the release pipeline automatically checks for our Helm chart builds, and it checks for omnibus builds, but it does not check for CNG. We don't check for CNG builds being successful until we start deploying to Kubernetes. So it's kind of one of those things I'm just like, we should probably change that. When I find the issue, I'll link it in here. I'm struggling to quickly find it.
Awesome. Yeah, Ruben, if you wouldn't mind getting a release issue open with that, so we can pull all those things together, that sounds like it sounds like a good opportunity for us to make things a bit tighter.
Sure, I'll open a release issue.
Awesome, thanks for that. Great. So one thing kind of related to these charts and pulling all this stuff together, we don't have to discuss now, but just to share, I have written up a proposal. We've got to the stage now, I think, where we've got enough kind of traction around the charts we're using, and they are, showing they're useful. Like it's certainly great to hear that you can see on the chart when the schedule's not quite working and you need to adjust the schedule. Like that's exactly the point of these charts. So that's really great to see. I know there's a heap of manual work around this. So see what you think on this proposal. Fine if you hate it, let me know, or if you've got ideas for how we can do this in a better way. But what I really would love to see is that we don't have to be manually annotating a chart, and we don't have to be manually pulling things together, right? Like if we could put some automation around this some way, I think that would be a big improvement for everyone's lives. So see what you think on that stuff and see if that sounds like a useful direction. Awesome. Is there anything that release managers you'd like us to see us doing like in the next few weeks? Is there anything we should be bringing in aside from that issue you mentioned, Skarbek? No? Super.
No, I don't think so.
Great stuff. Excellent. Well, let us know if anything changes this week, right? If you need any extra help. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up on this recording? Nope. Okay, I'll stop the recording.